night over Collinwood in the year 1840, Julia and Barnabas, on their dangerous mission to prevent the destruction of the great house, try to piece together the jigsaw puzzle that refuses to stay in place. For Barnabas has found Daphne outside of Collinwood, but she says she knows none of the people with whom she is to be so tragically linked in the future. However, unknown to Barnabas, Daphne was at Rose Cottage. This night, with Quentin, Desmond, and Letitia, Flora has read the tarot cards for Quentin and learned that someone he has loved died recently. Later, in her room, Daphne writes in her diary that she has met the man she has come to kill, Quentin Collins. And back at Rose Cottage, in the same room where the tarot cards still lay, Desmond Collins writes in a strange journal. A journal he keeps in the name of a man who has been dead for centuries.
After nearly 200 years of waiting, I will find the answer. The search will be over. I will know what I must. For tonight at 10 o'clock, Otis Green will be here.
Evil. Evil. Oh, God, the evil in this room. I can feel it. I can feel it.
Letitia, are you all right?
No, no, stay away from me.
Let me help you.
No, no. Madness. I say madness. Death in this room. Can you help?
No one will help you. You will tell no one of what you felt. No one.
Desmond. Oh, Desmond. What happened to you? What made you like that? What did?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, yes, you do. Oh, Desmond, let me help you if I can.
I don't need your help. Will you stop worrying about me?
But I care what happens to you.
You're just imagining things. Now you forget it. Do you understand?
Yes, Desmond. Yes.
I wouldn't go telling tales. There's enough real trouble going on around here without inventing any. Now come out of this room.
I still feel it. Somewhere. Here. The Tower of Destruction. Evil! Evil!
I'm so glad to see you feeling better, Roxanne.
Not as glad as I am. It was so dreadful being sick. I hate it. I shan't be again.
I hope not.
Mr. Collins,
What's wrong?
I'm embarrassed.
Why?
I was thinking of that night they were looking for me. I came to this house and you were here. I somehow acted as though you were responsible for what had happened to me.
You still remember that?
Oh, I shall never forget it. Oh, but it was so unfair. You and your sister have been so kind, so thoughtful.
Roxanne.
My dear girl, they told me you were here.
You do know Barnabas Collins, don't you, Mr. Trask?
Yes, of course. Good evening.
Good evening.
My prayers have been answered, Roxanne. You are well again. You don't know how much time I have spent looking forward to this moment.
Yes. His father said you called at the house every evening. Thank you.
Perhaps now you will pay heed to my advice. I warned you about going out alone at night, even before this vicious animal made its appearance again.
Again? What do you mean again, Mr. Trask?
I've made a most interesting discovery, one that I trust will help the police in the capture. Roxanne, you have given the police a complete description of what attacked you.
I can't seem to remember.
Now, how is that possible?
I can't explain it.
Well, you must try.
Trask, I don't think there's anything to be gained by this questioning.
Oh, don't you? Your attitude is remarkably like that of your late father, the original Barnabas Collins.
I didn't realize that you were old enough at that time to make such an observation.
I was not. But it is all here, in this letter. All of it. Your father's ridiculing of my father. Yes, a most interesting document. It was written in April of 1797, in this very house, and to my dear mother. Yes. It seems that at Collinwood at the time, there were these same mysterious attacks.
Lamar, one has nothing to do with the other.
We shall see. Let me read this document. Perhaps it will jar your rather quixotic memory.
Put that letter away and stop upsetting Roxanne. It has no relevance here.
You are as arrogant as your father. Evil has many faces, Mr. Collins. I will say of you, as my father wrote of your father, that you are somehow linked with the powers of darkness. You want this poor girl here to be in doubt of what actually happened. Why, Mr. Collins? Answer me that. Why?
Lamar, I wonder how I ever wasted 5 minutes on you.
I should like to speak to Miss Drew alone.
Please, Barnabas, let me. It will be easier.
I'll go and pay my respects to Quentin.
Barnabas, is it? I find it impossible to understand your attitude. Defending that man before me, making light of what I say when you know it's the truth.
I don't know it.
You should. That man is his father's son.
Well, what you've told me of your father, the same can be said about you.
What makes you defend him so? Look at me! Your eyes are veiled, Roxanne, filled with secrets. They weren't that way before all this happened. Why, Roxanne?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Your evasions, over the attacks, and over that man.
Lamar, one has nothing to do with the other.
No one said they did. No one but you. What did you mean by that? Look at me, Roxanne. You have admitted that you remember little, but that is not true. You do remember. Tell me, Roxanne. Speak to me. You can tell me. I would help you. I would give my life to help you.
No, no!
Is he bothering you, Ducks? I know you are, mister, but you got no right upsetting her. Are you all right, Roxanne?
Yes, yes.
Have you seen Desmond, love? I got to find him.
No.
Roxanne, I just met my sister upstairs. She's ready to examine you now. I'll take you up.
Oh, thank you, Barnabas.
I shall wait here for you, my dear.
Oh, please don't bother.
Don't look at me like that. I've got as much right to be here as you have. I'm to meet Desmond Collins here.
I am Lamar Trask. And you, miss?
My name's Letitia Fay, love.
Oh, yes. One of that circus at the Rose Cottage.
Circus? I never played a circus in my life. Music halls, that's my style.
Oh, yes. Dancing and singing, no doubt. Wearing lewd costume.
No. Looking into men's souls. Seeing their secrets. You might learn something about yourself you wouldn't want to know.
You're a mentalist?
I've appeared before all the heads of Crown Europe. I'm the true gift of second sight, love.
Only the Almighty above has that.
Well, he's given me a share of it. You got something on your mind, haven't you? You're after revenge. Oh, not for yourself. For someone else. Someone very close to you. That you never even knew.
How do you know that?
I saw. That's all I got to do, love, is just look.
Can you tell me who I'm trying to revenge? What great injustice was done to him?
Oh, I'd have to go into a trance to do that, love.
Would you?
Oh, you believe in it now, aren't you?
I believe there are many roads to the truth. I am not sure that yours is the right one.
Oh, well, I can prove it easy. What do you want to know?
I want to know where my father's body is, so that I can give him a decent burial.
Nothing to it. But I would have to have something of his. Something personal.
I have it here. I am convinced my father was murdered on this estate.
Murdered? I don't want to have nothing to do with no murder.
If you will name the murderer, you will rectify a great wrong. You will bring peace eternal to my father's tormented soul.
Give me the letter. Spirits, in your resting place, there is one of you who is hidden from us. Here, on this estate. If that is true, let that spirit show us where he is. I see a house.
Yes? Yes?
With pillars. A house that has been deserted.
The old house.
I see someone coming. A man. I can't see his face. But he waits. He waits for someone to appear.
Who is that man?
There is another door. It leads to stairs.
Where is my father's body? Tell me.
Letitia, what's going on here? Letitia!
She was in a trance.
What happened?
I'm afraid Mr. Trask was taking advantage of your special gifts.
You may think you arrived at the right moment, Mr. Collins, but it just may be that you interrupted too late.
What did you tell him?
I didn't want to tell him anything. He kept insisting. I just came in to find Desmond. That's all. I got to find Desmond.
You will find no one until you tell me everything.
Soon Otis Green will be here, and I will learn what I must. It is nearly time now. There will be a knock on the door. A man will enter, and before he leaves this room, I will know where my body is.
Mr. Trask, inspecting the work that my sister and I have done here?
You know why I'm here. I'm sure you made Letitia tell you.
Tell me what? Well, this house is going to be quite livable, isn't it?
If one can live in the presence of evil.
You know, considering that my sister and I have been given this house, you might have at least waited for an invitation.
My father's body is in this house. I'm positive of it.
You're more of a fool than I thought, Trask. What will your respectable friends say when they hear that you're believing in the ravings of a music hall mentalist? Now I must ask you to leave.
Very well. But I shall return.
Collins?
You're Mr. Green.
Otis Green, that's right. I got my card here somewhere.
I don't need your card, Mr. Green.
Ah, what a treasure house this is. I always said the Collins were fortunate people. Your ancestors always bought the finest furniture they could find. How I wish I had these things in my shop. The chair, for example. Now I could get $100 for this from a collector in Boston.
I am not interested in getting rid of that particular piece. Rather, this table.
Oh, very interesting.
Yes, and we do have some history of it. Augustine Collins bought it in Bedford after the witch trials. It originally belonged to a woman who was hanged for being a witch. It's fascinating, isn't it? Do you know anything of that period? You know, while the Salem trials are more famous, I think the local ones in Bedford are even more fascinating. You must know something about them.
My family came from Bedford.
Really? And was your family involved in the trials?
They were.
I asked you a question, Mr. Green.
My grandfather was an executioner. Some men wouldn't admit to that. There's a curse on it. And every one of the executioner's family. I know that. Well, I know it.
Oh, I am in luck. I had no idea you were so involved. I have something here that will really interest you, something else from that period. Go and open that curtain, Mr. Green. Go and open that curtain. You do recognize it, don't you? He's an old friend of yours, isn't he?
No.
No! Oh, no! You're not going anywhere, not until you tell us.
You're under his power.
Well, if you know that, don't fight me.
I won't look at it. Years it cost me. Years of living in that asylum.
You will look at it, because you know where the body is buried. Your grandfather buried it. Where is it, Mr. Green? Where is it?
You don't want to know. The head. It was cut off to stop it. So it wouldn't live again. It was the only way to stop it. My heart.
You tell me where the body lies!
The noose. An unmarked stone. The ring of gold. The stairs.
You, tell me where the noose is! Tell me!
Top of the hill. Direct line. Unmarked stone.